It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
Now, one of the most common questions that I've gotten over the last couple of weeks, because I've made it known that I like Way of Chaos, is what is the Way of Chaos team that I use the most? And I did answer this in a previous live stream kind of in passing, but I wanted to take it one step further because if you were a newer player, the team that I would recommend building isn't necessarily the team that I'm using now as far as Way of Chaos, all right? And with Xe'sha getting a talisman, magic attack, absolutely amazing to gain magic attack for this character, I thought that I would revisit this topic. Now, is this going to be the end-all, be-all team for Hero Wars Alliance? No. What do I like so much about Xe'sha? Xe'sha is not available on Facebook and web. Not available on Facebook and web, which is innately curious to me, but it is a cause for some interest. So this team can be played on offense or defense. I use it occasionally on defense, and it works out pretty well. So I use Astaroth. Okay, I think other tanks would work. Like Cleaver would probably be my next best tank for this, but if we're talking about the cheapest defensive team on Hero Wars Alliance, obviously Cleaver is out of the question there. So Astaroth will work, Cleaver will work. I think that those are probably the top two tanks for this line. But if we're like I said, if we're looking at the best, the cheapest defensive line, then we're gonna go with Astaroth. Everybody basically starts the game with Astaroth, whether you like him or not. I think that Astaroth is going to get a rework sometime, and he just really works in this team. Of course, talking about Way of Chaos, the two heroes that are the epitome of this line is Lilith and Xe'sha, right? Lilith and Xe'sha work so well together. They have abilities that kind of play off of each other. One guns a ton of health, the other one likes to sacrifice health. It's just a good core of two heroes. Now, the other two heroes that I want for this team, I chose because of their effectiveness. Yes, 100%, these are great heroes to add to this line, but also because of how cheap they are. The first hero that we're gonna add in is Jorgan, and the second hero is Dorian. So, a couple of things. Dorian is one of the better heroes in the game as far as healing throughput, right? Very much position-based, okay? And the way that this team is set up, unfortunately, Astaroth isn't getting a ton of healing, but that's okay, because Astaroth, with talismans, etc., has one of the highest total healths available in the game. One of the highest. And yes, that is a skin plus, and we're talking about the cheapest team on defense and all of that. But Dorian and Jorgan are two of the many heroes in this game that you do not have to max out for them to be effective. And the reason for that, we're going to start with Dorian. Dorian as a healer is heavily relied upon from his initiation Violet skill, which is a passive skill that persists even when Dorian dies. Okay, even when Dorian dies, right? So you don't need to max out Dorian for him to be a fantastic healer. His healing output is capped at 115% or whatever it is at cap. And his Fountain of Blood ability, is also capped. So as long as the skills are leveled up and you can survive the first onslaught, the first rush of an attacking team, then Dorian's healing will kick in, and ideally it will be enough. I see a question, what about Martha? I think Martha is probably a little better in a lot of instances as a healer, but we're talking about the cheapest. We're talking about the cheapest defense here. The cheapest defense. You have to level up Martha a lot more than Dorian for her to be an effective healer for your team. You would use Martha in some instances, yes. You would use other healers in other instances, absolutely. But I like Dorian for that reason, all right? Getting Dorian is another story altogether. Fortunately, you can easily get his soul stones from the town shop with just gold. So you could potentially get Dorian very early to add to your team. Of course, Xe'sha and Lilith themselves are not easy to get, but let's just, for the sake of the argument, you already have them unlocked. You already have them maybe at 5 or 6 stars, maybe even 4 stars, or whatever. Now, the other hero that I have, the fifth hero, is Jorgan. And what's interesting about Jorgan is a couple of things. First of all, like Dorian, his effectiveness is relied upon his skill level, mostly his skill level. You have the Torment of Powerlessness, blocks energy gain for 9 seconds. The damage is good. The damage is great from Jorgan's ultimate. But one of the main reasons why you bring Jorgan is energy control. And yes, A higher level Jorgan is more effective than a lower level Jorgan, absolutely. But there is a margin there that is not as big as you think, right? The maxed Jorgan is effectively better than a dirty or an unmaxed Jorgan, but for the sake of control and the artifact bonus and all of that, you don't need to max out Jorgan. You just need to have his skills leveled up. You can argue back and forth about leveling Leper or not leveling Leper. I don't want to get into this here. I just want to say that some people don't level up Leper's skill because they don't want to push physical damage to the back line. In this team, it doesn't matter because we're dealing basically with magic damage, not physical damage. But Tainted Wounds is the other one. Tainted Wounds steals energy from the enemy's front line, and this is not based on any stat whatsoever. It's just based on having this skill leveled up. Now, Jorgan is a strength-based damage dealer, a strength-based magic damage dealer, control hero. And what it means to be a strength-based hero means that you have a higher health pool than some of the other mages, some of the other control heroes, some of the other damage dealers. Now, this is an upside for that, but it's also a downside because it limits his damage output, right? You need to have magic attack skins leveled up and his magic attack glyph leveled up. You don't need any of these other glyphs leveled up. Strength, magic defense, armor, or health. You don't need those. They don't help him do more damage or control the enemy team. They help him stay alive, yes. So you will ultimately need to level them up. But what I want you to take away from Jorgan is the things that makes him good and strong in a team is not that expensive. It's not as expensive as, say, leveling up Satori as a mage damage dealer, or Orion, or any other damage dealer as far as their skins and glyphs and artifacts and all of that, right? So you have the core team of Astaroth, Xe'sha, and Lilith. These three are expensive and you're going to need to max them out. Eventually max them out. But you can definitely get away with Dorian and Jorgan on the cheap. Now, this isn't the be-all, end-all Way of Chaos team. There are other heroes that you're going to want to add in. Peppy, for example, Lars, Krista, Cleaver, like I mentioned. Other assorted supporting cast heroes, Faceless with Jorgan, or multiple tanks and all of that. Of course, you need 3 teams for the Grand Arena. You need multiple lines for the Hydra Head, and you need multiple lines for Global Championship. But this is a good inexpensive team. Is it the best team? Like I said, no. But this is the team that I recommend to new players or people that don't want to spend that much for Way of Chaos. This is the team. I really like Xe'sha. I like Xe'sha a lot. Aiden is also a great choice. I do not disagree with you there. Aiden is a fantastic choice. Cleaver, Peppy with Lilith and Xe'sha are good. Kayla, Aiden are great on mobile, especially without all their skins. Okay, that's good. I haven't dug into the Kayla, Aiden of it all on mobile.